Welcome into a post-Super Bowl episode of Pigskin Perspectives. I'm your host, as always, Nick Burt. Well, the Super Bowl has passed us. The football season is over, unless you're counting the UFL as football season. Then football season just is on pause until mid-March, and then the UFL is around. But for most of us, football season is over until August, September, or in my case with my Saskatchewan Roughriders number 13 jersey for the 13th man. The CFL season starts in June, so that's when football season starts for me. But football season is over. We had a dramatic conclusion to the season as the Kansas City Chiefs defeated the San Francisco 49ers 25-22 in overtime of Super Bowl 58. It was a wild game, to say the least. The first three quarters were kind of bad, if we're honest. First quarter ended 0-0. I was fine with the score. That won me a square, so I don't encourage gambling. If you have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER. But I am just saying, I won a square, so I am happy with that. The first quarter, it started off with the 49ers' first drive that ended in a Christian McCaffrey fumble. The first drive for the Chiefs ended in a punt. Then we traded punts. So it went Chiefs punt, 49ers punt, Chiefs punt. Then on the last drive of the first quarter, the 49ers go down the field. They don't get it finished in time for the end of the first quarter. So the first quarter ends 0-0. Jake Moody kicks a field goal just at the start of the second quarter, as it is now 3-0 San Francisco, just very early on in the second quarter. The Chiefs, they go down the field. There was a just beautiful pass from Patrick Mahomes to Mecole Hardman. 52 yards, I believe, gets them down to the San Francisco 9. They're right in the red zone. Looks like they're going to punch it in. Isaiah Pacheco fumbles the ball on the next play, and the Chiefs turn it over for the first time on the day. That was then when Travis Kelce went up to Andy Reid, bumped him / startled him, yelled in his face that, why was I not on the field for that? Because he was not on the field because Andy took him off just to make tactical substitutions. But hey, it seemed to kind of light a little bit of a fire, but not enough in the first half at least. So after that fumble, we once again trade punts between each other. So the 49ers punted on that drive. Then the Chiefs punted. Then the 49ers, once again, they go down the field. We got to right on the edge of the red zone. The 49ers were at the 21. It was a Purdy handoff to McCaffrey. McCaffrey threw it across the field to Juwan Jennings. Juwan Jennings threw it to McCaffrey. McCaffrey had it wide open, ran into the end zone for the touchdown, and the San Francisco 49ers were up 10-0. The Kansas City Chiefs were once again down 10 in a Super Bowl. It was a feeling they knew all too well. Their past two Super Bowls, they've been down by 10. And it was going to be a challenge definitely for Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs offense to once again lead a team back from a 10-point deficit to possibly win this game. And after that touchdown, they go up. Mahomes leads a good drive down the field that ends up being a field goal, and that would be the end of the first half, as it would be 10-3 as we went into the locker room. Usher did his thing. It was something. I personally wasn't a huge fan, but hey, what can I say? The first half was quite slow. The trading of punts kind of felt like deja vu from the Patriots-Rams Super Bowl from 6 years ago, in Atlanta. It was okay. If you like defensive performances like I do, was an enjoyable game, but the casual fan likes points, and I saw a lot of complaining on the internet last night, and it was... I'm not complaining. Points are points. I get it. You want to see a high-scoring game in the Super Bowl. That's not what this game's about. It's about the two best teams that have lasted this long, and we got to find out a way for this to work, basically. I know you're not going to get all you want, but I mean, what can I say? I personally enjoyed the first half, but because if you see teams doing chess matches, you got to find that kink in the armor, I guess I would say, that you can exploit to try to get those points. It makes every point feel more valuable when you're just going blow for blow, punt for punt, because your defenses keep getting stops on offense. The offense has to work even harder now to try to find, that one gap that they can find to exploit and try to get points. So this game went into the half 10-3. It was, once again, like I said, people complaining, but the thing was the Chiefs were getting the ball to start the second half. It felt like a time for them to just go down the field, either put up another 3, put up a touchdown, tie the game. But it was only a 3-play drive, as on, I believe it was 3rd and 12, Patrick Mahomes throws an interception, and the 49ers are in like prime-ish territory, because I think it was right around Kansas City's 44 the interception was. So, I mean, the 49ers were 20-ish yards away from the red zone. So this was a prime opportunity for the 49ers to put that foot on the gas, take a 17-3 lead, and kind of just not look back. Obviously, Kyle Shanahan, he was the offensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons when they blew a 28-3 lead. So I'm not saying 17-3 is insurmountable, but it definitely gives you a good feeling. But the Chiefs defense once again showed up on that drive. They, I don't believe, allowed a yard period. They lost a yard on that drive. It forced the 49ers into a punt, which it was downed, I believe, at the 2, somewhere around there. So it just perfectly executed drive. Then the Chiefs punted again, 49ers punted again, and it wouldn't be until the next Chiefs drive after that punt that they would once again go down the field. They would rely on the foot of Harrison Butker to put points on the board, and a 57-yard field goal, which became a Super Bowl record after the record was just broken a quarter earlier with Jake Moody's 55-yard field goal. The 57-yard field goal was good, making the score 10-6. And as much as it didn't look like it, momentum was shifting. It felt like things were going to go the Chiefs' way. The 49ers, I believe, were held to a 3-and-out. The Chiefs' defense didn't give up a yard, so they get a punt. The Chiefs then again, on their next drive, they go 3-and-out. But on the punt, there was a muffed punt by the 49ers. It was recovered by, I believe, Watson on the Chiefs, right around the 16-yard line. So they are prime in the red zone. And you can't give Patrick Mahomes that kind of opportunity. He passes it. Valdez-Scantling wide open for the touchdown. Makes it 13-10. And at that moment of the muffed punt, it felt the Chiefs are winning this game because the 49ers have fallen apart in the second half. look at that. They've already blown their 10-point lead that they have, and now they're down 3. It was going to be, how do they respond? How did they respond? Well, Brock Purdy and company led them on a 12-play, 75-yard drive down the field that culminated, the end of the quarter was in there, but it culminated in a Juwan Jennings touchdown pass where he just shook off like 3 Kansas City defenders to get into that end zone, to make sure that he got that touchdown. He just shook them all off him. But the key here was Jake Moody's extra point was blocked. So the score stayed 16-13, which means it's still a 3-point game, which means if you go down the field goal, hey, we're at a tie game. We're, potentially looking at overtime. So what do the Chiefs do? They go on a 12-play, 69-yard drive. I believe it ends 4th and goal. It was just a chip shot for Butker. Puts it in. We're a tie game. 5:46 left in the game. It's starting to think, okay, hey, halftime, or overtime, I should say. Hey, it's starting to look like this. Unless the 49ers can waste enough time on the clock and get down the field and kick a game-winning field goal with no time left, then, hey, the 49ers are going to win this. And they tried their best on clock management. It didn't turn out as well as they wanted it to be, as the drive only lasted, I think, 3 minutes and 30 seconds-ish. And it was a Jake Moody 53-yard field goal. So we've had a 55, a 57, and a 53-yard field goal in this game, when the previous record for longest field goal, I believe, was 52, if I'm not mistaken. A Jake Moody 53-yard field goal was good. Once again, putting the 49ers back in front with 1:53 left in the game. But they're too much time on the clock. You can't give Patrick Mahomes that much time. I mean, he is that guy, and he was going to find a way down the field. And guess what? He did. And guess who he targeted most of the drive? Travis Kelce, who had been quiet most of the game. I mean, going into half, he had 1 reception for 1 yard. He was held pretty quiet until, and he got a few touches in the second half, but that final drive in regulation, Patrick Mahomes really relied on him, and he made catch after catch. I mean, the first catch of that drive went for 9 yards, so you get to 2nd and 1. Then there was a Mahomes scramble. I believe then it was to Noah Gray was the next pass. That was for 12 yards, so that gets you down the field even more. And clock's ticking. The Chiefs aren't really using timeouts here, so Mahomes trying to speed it up a little. They keep going down the field. There was an incompletion, I believe, somewhere in there that led it to be like 3rd and 3 with 40, 50 seconds left, somewhere around there. Patrick Mahomes gets it to Jarrett McKinnon for 7 yards, gets the first down. And then the big play here was a Mahomes pass with 16 seconds left. Travis Kelce on the outside, cuts up the sideline. Almost looks like he's got room right for the end zone and this game's going to be over. But he gets knocked out, I believe, at the 11. So they're not in a 1st and goal scenario, but they're at the 11. They're well within field goal range. The Chiefs run one play just to see if we can get it to the end zone. It was a pass to, once again, Travis Kelce. Was incomplete. So 6 seconds left. Andy Reid sends the field goal team out there. 29-yard field goal. It's good. We're tied at 19, and we are headed to overtime. And this would be the first overtime that is using the new overtime playoff rules that have been implemented since last year, I believe. It's second Super Bowl ever in Super Bowl history, or second Super Bowl overtime in history, I should say. First one being that Patriots-Falcons game where Kyle Shanahan was the offensive coordinator, and he once again, it kind of felt like he knew that feeling all too well. The 49, this is a very big point of contention here, at least for me, coming into this recap. The 49ers, coin flip, they win the toss. They choose to receive. Now remember, with the new overtime rules, each team gets a possession. So it would be the 49ers getting a possession to go down the field. Then it would be the Chiefs. If the game is still tied, then it's the 49ers ball again, and then it's sudden death. The Chiefs, or the 49ers, chose to go on offense first, which boggles my mind. When I saw it and they called it, I said, the 49ers don't know the new rules. I can tell you that for sure. And it turned out they admitted that they did not know the rules, which that's quite worrying. If you are a coach and you do not know the rules of the game you are playing, especially in a Super Bowl, overtime-wise, you should probably know what's going on. Now, I don't think a lot of people, I think people at home understood what was going on, but not a ton, because we'll get into a situation in a minute where even I was lost, and Romo started explaining it, and I'm like, Romo, shut up. Like, this is just confusing. You're confusing the viewer. But 49ers, they get the ball, which, again, I don't know why, but they do. They go, it was a good drive down the field. They kept feeding McCaffrey. They kept running the ball, just kept chugging downfield. They got, I believe, right down to the 9, so they got to 1st and goal right around there. They ran, incomplete pass. So now it's 4th. I believe it was 4th and 4. So it wasn't a 4th and goal situation, but it was 4th and 4 from the 9. And the 49ers decided to kick a field goal. Once again, I don't know if they understood the rules. Even if this was the old rules, field goal still gives the Chiefs the ball. You've seen what Patrick Mahomes did to you in that second half, and the Chiefs are the hot team at the time. Why you aren't going for a touchdown there, I don't get. Even if you don't get the touchdown, there's a possibility of a first down. Even if you don't get the first down, you're letting the Chiefs start at the 9. So they're going to have to drive 91 yards to win this game. Now, of course, there is the factor in there that a field goal technically could win the game. So the distance, obviously, that the Chiefs need is not as much. But you're kicking it on 4th and 4 at the 9. I don't get it. You obviously want points in overtime, but you just saw what Patrick Mahomes did to your defense in the second half. Your defense is gassed, but you're going to put them out on the field where they know if a touchdown is scored, this game is over. You should have went for the touchdown, because if you get the touchdown, worst case scenario, Mahomes goes down the field, scores a touchdown. They obviously either go for 2 to try to win it, because they know if the 49ers go down the field, if they kick the extra point and the 49ers kick a field goal, the game's over. So either the Chiefs go for 2 or they kick the extra point, we're tied again, and you can just go down the field and kick a field goal and the game's over. Why you aren't going for a touchdown there, or even a first down? It's 4th and 4. Why you aren't going for a first down is beyond me. I think that I'm not going to say it's a fireable offense, but if you don't know the overtime rules and you are playing badly in overtime in the biggest game of the year, you got to start questioning the coach there. Kyle Shanahan, what are we doing here? But they kick the field goal. Jake Moody puts it in. It is then 22-19, and they burned up about half of the clock. So this is another part. There was no real explanation on why there's a clock because it kind of seemed pointless, but there was anyways. So I'm like, okay, 7:38 has been run off the clock, so just past halfway. If Chiefs go down and they don't, if it goes to zeros, is this game over? And nobody was really asking that question, so nobody was saying anything. So I'm just assuming the Chiefs got to score, right? I know that they're guaranteed a possession, but I feel like you got to do it within the time constraints. Well, they're starting to go on a drive. We're around, I don't know, play 10 somewhere, and that clock just keeps ticking. We rolled past what I thought was going to be a 2-minute warning that we didn't get. That clock just keeps ticking down, and I'm like, are the Chiefs just letting this run out? At some point, like, the Chiefs were in the red zone, and Romo's then like, well, if you're wondering why they're not calling timeout here, it's because we're going to another period if the clock hits zero. I'm like, Romo, what's going on? As he's basically calling this right as a play is about to start. I'm like, do we even know the rules here? The Chiefs kept going down the field. They had a fourth down, they were about to go 3 and out. I didn't even mention this because I'm just so focused on this clock. It was 4th and 1 from the Kansas City 34, so their own 34. And game on the line, basically. Mahomes takes it himself. He had the out of throwing it to Kelsey, who would have got a first down. Mahomes takes it himself, gets 8 yards, goes first down. Chiefs are still alive. That right after that play was the Valdez-Scantling play where he caught it, didn't get tackled, but he was in the process of being tackled, ran backwards and lost 3 yards, which could have very much cost the Chiefs the Super Bowl. And then right after that play, Mahomes targeted him again. He gets 7 yards. Then Mahomes on 3rd and 6, he runs it for, I believe, 13 yards, gets him to the other side of the 50, and that's where the drive really started to get in the flow. Mahomes, I believe he went to Pacheco twice. He scrambled again. We got to the San Francisco 12, San Francisco 10, somewhere around there. Mahomes passes it to Kelsey. That gets it to 1st and goal. And I believe this is right around the scenario where Romo was saying, hey, if the clock runs out, we're going to another period, which I still didn't believe. But Patrick Mahomes, 3 yards out, throws it to Mecole Hardman. Hardman catches it in the end zone, wide open. The Chiefs are back-to-back Super Bowl champions as the confetti falls, and that was the game. We literally went 5 quarters, even though quarter is 4. We went 5 periods of football, I guess I would say, because as that ball was caught, that clock hit 0. So we played 5 15-minute quarters, even though, like I said, a quarter is 4. And, the Chiefs have won again. Champagne problems for the rest of the league because the Chiefs are the champions once again. I mean, at some point, when the 49ers kicked the field goal, I think everybody was ready for a Mahomes drive. The worst feeling in the world, like Romo said, is not being in control of the situation. And for the 49ers offense, that's probably what that felt like. They knew, hey, we did something bad here. We we missed an extra point and we kicked a field goal in overtime. Like we kind of did something bad. And this is where we end. The Chiefs are champions again, back to back, first time since 03-04 with the New England Patriots. We're watching a dynasty. I mean, this is a dynasty. The last team to do this, like I said, was the Patriots. They won 3 and 4 years, with the last two being a back-to-back. The Chiefs just won 3 and 4 years. No, it's not 3 and 4 years. It's 3 and 5 years, with the last of them being back-to-back, because that Brady Super Bowl was in there. And then the Super Bowl they didn't make. And then these back-to-back ones. And yeah, it's just kind of hard to believe that we, in the AFC wise and obviously the NFL wise, we've went from 20 years basically of Patriots domination straight into a Chiefs dynasty, which who knows when it's going to end, honestly. I mean, a lot of people, like NFL fans, the casual fans, they have bad blood for teams like this that just, the Patriots, they just stink it up. They keep winning. And here we are with the Chiefs, starting to do that. And I'm like, I'm more on the side of you just, obviously Browns fan, but you just kind of got to sit back and watch greatness happen. Because a lot of people said we weren't going to see something like Brady and Belichick ever again. We're seeing it with Reed and Mahomes right now. I don't think they're going to have the longevity that Brady and Belichick did, with Reed being up there in age. And I just, you got to just kind of sit back and watch it happen and be like, wow, this is real. Obviously, it sucks that the Chiefs won again. But like I said, you just got to sit back and say, wow, we are once again watching another dynasty take place. Will this be the last great dynasty of the NFL with how much parity is happening in the league? Probably not. We're going to have another team pop up that's going to end up being like this. Obviously, I hope it's the Browns. It's not going to be, but obviously I hope. But yeah, here we are. We knew this was going to happen eventually, that we would see a repeat. I believe this was the longest break in between repeats, because it had been, 19 years. And now the streak begins again. We'll see if the Chiefs can become the first team in the Super Bowl era to go back to back to back. I personally don't think it's going to happen, but I mean, at this point, you can't bet against Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes has fallen into Tom Brady category where you cannot bet against him in the playoffs. Regular season, you can fool around all you want, but obviously Joe Burrow did it. Joe Burrow's the only one that has beat Patrick Mahomes in a playoff game. Josh Allen hasn't figured it out. Lamar hasn't figured it out. At one point, Baker was going up against Patrick Mahomes in a playoff game, didn't figure it out. Brady didn't figure it out in the AFC, figured it out in the NFC, though. For you to be the man, you got to beat the man, as Ric Flair always says. That man right now is the Kansas City Chiefs. I have not seen one team yet. You can beat them in the regular season all you want. Beating them in the playoffs is what matters. And again, the Bengals team did it. We have not seen another team be able to do it. And I honestly, I don't know what team could right now. They keep returning a lot of their starters. They stay healthy-ish. The injuries happen, but they're not long-term injuries that, affect the rest of the season. But they find a way every year. And this was the worst year they've had in this Mahomes era, probably. Not counting like the rookie. I'm talking about like Super Bowl team-wise. This was the worst team that they had. I mean, we look back at their schedule. They weren't that great in the regular season. They still turned it on in playoff time, came out, and won the Super Bowl again. At some point, again, you just got to sit back and witness greatness. So, figured we'll take a look at some of the stats from this game. We'll start on the Chiefs side. Mahomes went 34 for 46, 333 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, that 1 interception to start the second half. He had 9 rushes for 66 yards. A pretty good performance for Patrick Mahomes in this one. Isaiah Pacheco, 18 rushes, 59 yards. He had 6 receptions for 33 yards. It is interesting that Mahomes was the leading carrier or leading rushing yards also. So that was just interesting there. Travis Kelce, like I said, he had a very quiet first half. Kind of woke up in the second half. Ended up 9 receptions for 93 yards. Mecole Hardman, 3 receptions, 59 yards. That game-winning touchdown. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, 3 receptions for 20 yards. And the one other TD of this game for the Chiefs. Rashid Rice, 6 receptions for 39 yards. He also had 2 rushes for 5 yards. And then Harrison Butker, 4 for 4 on field goals, the 57-yarder being the long of the day and long of Super Bowl history. And he was 1 for 1 on extra points. If we take a look at the 49ers, Brock Purdy, 23 for 38, 255 yards, 1 TD. He also had 3 rushing attempts for 12 yards. He didn't have that bad of a game. It felt like if the 49ers were going to lose this game, it was going to be lights too bright moment for Brock Purdy, throws an interception or 2, and it's over. Brock Purdy did not cost them that game, surprisingly. Now, obviously, he could have made a few better throws, but he didn't make that game-changing turnover type play. He just was consistent throughout the game, and he is not the reason why the 49ers lost. Christian McCaffrey, 22 rushes, 80 yards, 8 receptions for 80 yards, had the 1 TD in the first half. Jawan Jennings, 4 receptions for 42 yards. He had that touchdown in the second half. And then obviously 1 for 1 passing, the 21-yard touchdown pass to McCaffrey in the first half. Felt like he was going to end up being MVP if the 49ers won this game. Obviously, they did not. Mahomes ends up being the MVP, even though they didn't announce that at all, and it kind of just came out in social media, which I thought was odd, but hey. Deebo Samuel, kind of a quiet night for him. 3 receptions for 33 yards. He had 3 rushes for 8 yards. Brandon Ayuk, another one that had a kind of quiet night. 3 receptions for 49 yards. And then Jake Moody, this was the game changer. He went 3 for 3 on field goals with the 59 yards being the long, but he was 1 for 2 on extra points. If he was 2 for 2, this game doesn't go to overtime, and the 49ers most likely are Super Bowl champions. So here we are. It's all over. The NFL season is over. Just like last season, the Chiefs go into the offseason as champions. I'm sure Kyle Shanahan is sitting somewhere hoping just that this is just another film tape to burn, because once again he blew a lead in the Super Bowl. It was a 10-point lead against the 49ers in Super Bowl 54. Obviously, Super Bowl 51, it was the blown 28-3 lead against the Patriots. And this one, a 10-point lead slips through his hands again against the Chiefs. And like I said, not knowing overtime rules kind of cost you the game, if we're honest. And yeah, that is the story of the season. The Chiefs, once again, champions. And yeah, we've come to the end of the football season. What a great recap this was. I feel like we really went through a lot here. Looks like we ran right around 36 minutes. So that's going to wrap it up for Pigskin Perspectives. Not forever, though. I think there's going to be no Thursday this week. Next week, we're going to take a look at all the teams, kind of grade what their season ended up as. In my eyes, we'll do probably AFC Tuesday, NFC Thursday, maybe flip them, who knows. But so look out for that. But for recaps and previews, Pigskin Perspectives has reached its conclusion. So thank you so much for watching. If you are stumbling across the Super Bowl recap, where have you been the rest of the season? Still, thank you so much for watching. If you just stumbled across this, click like, click subscribe. Like I said, the football content is not over. We're going to get through this off season. As soon as you know it, it's going to be August or June for me. And we'll have football again. And so thank you so much for watching this Super Bowl recap. Congrats to the Kansas City Chiefs on winning the Super Bowl once again. And we will see you again soon for another episode of Pigskin Perspective.